Okay, this is a video to show the slight repair of a toilet flange. My wife had complained that there was an odor coming from this bathroom, and I didn't see any leak around the toilet, so I thought there might be a break in the wax seal, allowing the sewer gas to provide occasional bad odor. Now, one thing I didn't do was I didn't try tightening up the bolts on the toilet just to see if I could get it to go away. I had installed this toilet myself about 7 years ago. I had kind of a vague memory that there might have been a problem with the toilet flange, so that might have been a little bit in my mind. So anyway, plus I was going to be planning on redoing this floor anyway, so I just took the toilet off. I didn't find any obvious problem in the toilet flange. It was rusted, not terribly. In other words, it was totally intact. The rust appeared to really be on the surface. It seemed not to have penetrated, but the material did not seem to be stainless steel. It was coated with a blue plastic. The company, I think, is this company that has an N on it. I forget the name of it right now, but I did see it on the internet, I think. But the other thing, I couldn't really see where it would have leaked because the seal seemed okay, but I did notice one little thing, and that was in the spot where the bolt would go on, the flange did seem slightly distorted upward, which is a little bit natural because the bolt is pulling it up, the toilet bolt is pulling it up. See how here this steel rim is recessed in there, but you can see here it's coming up. Now on the other side, it doesn't really do that. It stays down. So this side, there doesn't appear to be any distortion whatever on the rim. On this side, in this area right in here, I would say this seemed to be pulled up slightly. Okay, well, what I did was I brushed off all the rust that I could find, and I put the rusty metal primer and a coat of this Rust-Oleum black paint on there, and I let that all dried up, and now I'm getting it ready for a new toilet. And one thing that I'm doing is when I put the toilet bolt in, okay, one thing that I want to see is I want to see it rotated at 90 degrees. And the reason for that is I feel as though I'm going to get more meat in that connection because it goes in further. Okay, so if there's an upward pull, it's going to help distribute that load across a wider area and should be less likely to distort. Okay, now a lot of times when you put this in there and you're tightening the bolt up ahead, this on the top of the toilet, this starts rotating around. You have no idea if it's in sideways or the other ways. Okay? Now the so-called double nut approach solves that problem. Okay, because what happens is with you actually tighten a nut down, can't do this with one hand, but you can actually tighten the nut completely down, and then the toilet can even fit over with that single nut. Okay? And the advantage of this approach is that's one advantage, but the other advantage is that you can have a washer in here, and that washer helps distribute the load, and it helps to sandwich the metal rim of this toilet flange between the washer and the head of the toilet nut. And what I noticed here was simply by putting it in there and tightening it, I was able to flatten out the section a little bit, which had been pulled up. So it's less distorted. It's still raised up overall, but in particular, the inner part didn't. It used to have this little curl up at the edge, and you can see on this edge where the washer has pressed down against the metal and broken off or wore through that paint. you don't really see it so much on the other side, although I did put that bolt in on the other side too. You see it a little bit. This side you see it more and over a wider area. So this, I think, it was just tightening this up, but not overdoing it, because this is brass bolt. But just snugging it up, and then looking at it, and actually backing it off a couple times. I feel as though I'm able to flatten out this toilet flange, and I'll have higher confidence when I put the toilet in that it's going to stay in that position without getting further distortion. The distortion, of course, might have possibly led to a break in the seal. I don't know. It didn't seem that bad, but it was a slight thing here. This ring is locked in place now. I tried rotating it, but I think because of the rust has caused the metal to expand. In this groove, it's totally locked up. I tried rotating it, but I didn't want to break it, so it doesn't need to be rotated, so I just thought that would help me clean it out in that area before I painted it. But right now I've just painted it just in position. I haven't rotated it. I think it's still going to be fine. I can't obviously paint the underside of it. I just put this little dam up so that the paint wouldn't run out to that portion of the floor, which is not going to be covered by the toilet. Okay, anyway, so I think this is going to help me when I come to put the toilet on. I didn't used to do this, but now I routinely do this now. I double nut. You have to check to make sure that the toilet will accept that, but normally the hole in the toilet is large enough for a nut also to fit in there, and possibly even a washer, or possibly two washers. You just have to look at the dimensions of it. You want the washer to not be so big so as to overlap onto the plastic part of the flange. It has to just stop short of that so that the force is entirely on the metal part. Okay, just a few notes there. Thanks, bye.